Hello, Lion Cubs. Today we're going to work on creating a comic book about our daily routine and using some transition words we already know, like first, next, then, and last to help us. The first thing you'll need is to get some of your supplies. The things you'll need are a piece of paper, and if you don't have a piece of paper, I had an old piece of paper that had something on the back, so I just turned it over. You only need one side. I also have a pencil, because I like to start with pencil in case I make a mistake. I can always erase to fix it. I also have some colored pencils, crayons, markers. You'll want something to color with just to make your comic book stand out. So this is a good time to pause your video to get your supplies that you might need. Now that you have your supplies, the first thing you'll have to do is do some thinking. You'll have to think of, what daily routine do I want to write about? Some ideas might be your morning routine, things you do in the morning, right when you wake up. Maybe something you do right before you go to bed every day. Maybe something you do before you go to school. Something you do every time before you eat dinner. Maybe the way your mom fixes your hair in the morning. So you'll have to think, what do I want to write about and draw about, and what can I use to think of what happens first, next, then, and last. You'll need to know all those steps. So once you have your idea, you're going to start writing. So if you're still thinking of your idea, you can pause your video to think. If you're ready, we're going to get started. So the first thing you'll need to do is with paper, you're going to want to fold it 2 times to help make your comic book strip. So first, you'll fold it in half, like a hamburger, and then open it back up, and then you'll fold it in half, like a hot dog. And when you open it, you'll see you have 4 sections. If you want, you can use a marker or a crayon to go over these lines to help give your comic book the 4 spaces you'll need. In the 4 spaces, there will be 4 things that you'll write. You have first, next, then, and last. Those words will help us when we're writing our comic and help us think of the ideas. So before I start drawing, I'm going to think of what I want to write. So I'm going to write about what I do. So let's see. In the morning, first, I wake, that's a bossy E, up and make my bed. My bed. Don't forget my period at the end. And I noticed, this one has 2 bossy E words. Wake and make. I'm going to underline those just so I can remember. Those are bossy E words. So first I wake up and make my bed. Then I might want to draw a little picture of the next step is what's going to make it special into a comic book, is we're going to add some speech bubbles. Speech bubbles is when we want to make our characters talk. So here's me, I'm my character in my story. First I wake up and make my bed. So my speech bubble is going to be what I'm saying as a character. So I might be saying, time for coffee. Don't want to forget my period. And add it in my speech bubble. That's what makes our writing into a comic book today. So there's my first step. First, I wake up and make my bed. I have my speech bubble saying, time for coffee. So next, that gives the reader a clue that next, I get some coffee. And then I get to draw my picture of me getting some coffee. special addition that makes it into a comic. So before I said time for coffee, now I'm going to add a thought bubble, and a thought bubble is a little different than a speaking bubble because it starts with these 3 little dots to show the reader that you're thinking. So I'm getting my coffee and I'm thinking, this coffee is delicious. Let's try and sound out delicious. Delicious. Oh, and I think I made a mistake. That's okay. I have a pencil, so I can just go back and fix it. This coffee is delicious. In my thinking bubble. So we're going to go back and read our story. First, I wake up and make my bed. Next, I get some coffee. And I'm thinking to myself here, this coffee is delicious. Then, I get dressed. And fix my hair. In this speaking bubble, I'm going to introduce some new characters for my story. In this speaking bubble, I said, pumpkin, pickles, time for a walk. And pickles. We're going to go back to the beginning and read what we have so far. First, I wake up and make my bed. Time for coffee. Next, I get some coffee. And I'm thinking to myself, this coffee is delicious. Then I get dressed and fix my hair. And I'm speaking, pumpkin, pickles, time for a walk. Last, it is time, oh, that's another boxy E word, for a walk with those characters I just introduced, pumpkin and pickles. Last, it is time for a walk with pumpkin and pickles. And I'm going to make sure that pumpkin and pickles both have a capital P, because remember, those are our proper nouns. They're names, and they get a capital letter at the beginning. When I'm thinking on my walk, I'm thinking, today is a beautiful, let's sound that one out, beautiful day. Remember, my thought bubble starts with those little tiny circles to show I'm thinking. I'm going to read it one more time before I start to add my finishing details with color, and maybe I'll add a few more pictures in. First, I wake up and make my bed. Time for coffee. Next, I get some coffee. This coffee is delicious. Then I get dressed and fix my hair. Pumpkin, pickles, time for a walk. Last, it is time for a walk with pumpkin and pickles. Today is a beautiful day. Now it's your turn to make your own comic to share with your teacher. Remember, it can be anything you do during the day. The most important thing you do is use these words, first, next, then, and last. Make sure to have fun and show your creativity in your drawings and illustrations. Bye!